welcome back to Smarties. This is Simriti and I'm back with my O-level series, and this time we have the subject Urdu, code number 3248. Yeah, I'm right. So I managed to get an A in Urdu, which I was not expecting because I am, I cannot describe how bad I'm at Urdu, but I managed to get it. And so I thought, how about I share my experience with you guys? So without any further ado, let's just get started. So the first thing that I would like to tell you guys about will be to make sure that you keep up with the consistency, because as my experience, I was never good with Urdu. Be it in my 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I used to get zero, like not zero, but like not good marks in Urdu. So Urdu has always been my low subject where I couldn't get good grades and I couldn't write. So I can speak Urdu, but I cannot write it well, or I am very bad at dictation. So this was like some of the things that I had that time. So what I did was to look over to my mistakes and my weaknesses. So my weakness was dictation. I couldn't write it, and if you say a word to me, I couldn't write it well. So that was like the one problem that I always had, and I was not good with the vocabulary at all. So I just noticed my weaknesses first and I started practicing things. So even if you're lazy and even if you don't like it, Urdu, it's okay, because I didn't like it either. So I remember I used to not do any of the homeworks at home. I used to not even study Urdu at home, but I used to practice Urdu a lot in my school, because in the class all you do is practice. So make sure if you're not doing it at home, you're better doing it the school, and you're making sure that you're taking feedbacks from your teacher as well. Because I remember I used to write, for instance, if there's emails, I used to write it and always take a feedback from my teacher, so what I can improve. I used to always look forward to some compliments that okay, I did some good things, but I used to never get that. But still I practice it, and eventually till the end of the exam I was not good at it, but I eventually gave it and I got good grades. And if I talk about my exam, when I appeared for May-June session, it was the toughest paper that ever appeared, I think, because the syllabus had changed, and since 2 years the paper was coming like a smooth, like a butter, but this time it was very difficult. If I talk about like the paper one was smooth, paper one was like always easy, it's just reading and writing that, but paper 2 was most difficult, because if you guys remember that in paper 2 we have this first exercise that we have this certain sentence and we need to change it according to some suffix, prefixes, or get synonyms out of it. And I remember it was a 5 marks, and out of that I only did 3. I only attempted 3 because I couldn't go for like these 2, and because I couldn't remember any of the synonyms, or if I could remember something I couldn't write it well. So I wrote it, but I knew that they were going to be wrong, so I think I lose my 2 marks there. Afterwards there was a comprehension thing, I remember. So there's notes making, if you guys remember, like before the summary, question number 3. So that was the most difficult part. I remember like everyone in the hall, like after we were done with our paper, were all like, how did you write that answer, how did you write it, because it was very difficult and the answer was hidden like into the passages in between the lines. So eventually I did spend my like around 15 minutes into it, and I eventually recovered it and wrote it, and my answer that was correct. So in my paper it was difficult. And if I talk about some emails, so the email that we got was easy, but I remember I did some spelling mistakes. So I was very bad with spelling still, and I wasn't expecting, like I was expecting B for my Urdu, but I think by learning some specific structure of writing email, like you should know how do you write an email, and you should know how to spend your time within the paper, because you have the paper of like 1 hour and like 30 minutes sometimes, and 1 hour 25 minutes. So you should always practice the amount of time that you're going to give to a certain question, because for instance, if in paper 1 we have 5 questions, so if in the time span of like 1 hour and 30 minutes, what you're going to do within that. So I practiced a lot, that I knew that if any question comes to me, I will be giving, like, for instance, like this question 1, I'm going to give it like 10 minutes and not more than that at all. So if you're preparing for an Urdu exam, and if you're expecting, and if you really want a good grade, I think you should practice the time span, because it's very important. If I talk about like Islam and Pakistan studies paper, it's also very important, but you need to learn something. You need to learn some context. But in Urdu, second language, I think you don't need to learn anything, but you just should, practice the time span. You should know the good vocabulary. And as I mentioned, you should know the good vocabulary. Shouldn't be like, कोई अंग्रेजी ज़माने, not अंग्रेजी, but कोई इलामा इकबाल के poetic words आपको नहीं आने चाहिए. It's not like that. I really didn't know anything about that. But it's just कि आपको basic words तो आने चाहिए, because like if you're writing an essay, अगर आपका essay आ जाता है, your essay comes on like education, and I remember my essay came on, it was on vacations or something. So according to that, like, there are certain topics like education, vacations, holiday, same thing, and winter vacation, summer vacation, extracurricular activities. So these certain topics can come in your paper, because these are hot topic these days, and examiner gives these exams. So you should know vocabulary according to these topics. Like, for instance, if we have extracurricular, so extracurricular comes like a lot of things comes in that. It comes like volunteering, volunteering at pet, volunteering at beaches and stuff like that. So there is certain vocabulary that you should know. And for instance, if you're writing like if you're writing extracurricular, what do you say extracurricular in Urdu? You don't know. So probably there are sargarmiyan, I remember it, yeah, pata nahi. So sargarmiyan, so aapko ye pata honi chahiye, so that you can write it in the paper. Another thing that I would like to mention will be in emails. So in emails, it is allowed that you can write English words, which was the best part. I remember we can write 5 to 8 English words in email, and examiner permits that. So I think that is the good thing. I remember I did not practice like before giving my exam. My friend told me that you can write in English. So I was like, whoa, because I was very much tense for my email, because there are certain words that you know in English and certain words you don't know in Urdu, and you get stuck. So this is something that you guys can do if you're stuck in email and you don't know certain words. So all you can do is just write in English. You not write in English, but for instance, if they're extracurricular and you don't know what do we say extracurricular in Urdu, so you can just write extracurricular within the Urdu itself. So that's how you can cope up with the email. So yeah, that was about paper 2. If I talk about paper 1, I remember paper 1 has all comprehensions, and it also has email, and then we come to the summary writing, which is of paper 2, I guess. So summary writing, it just gives you 100 words, I think, and you don't need to exceed the limit. I remember I did exceed the limit, and I think that's why I lose some marks there, because when you're writing a summary, for me as a person, if I'm writing something, I just want to add everything that I think will be important. So due to which I exceeded the limit, but you really do not need to. And in summary is the most easiest question, I think, in the paper 2, because there all you just need to do is just copy paste. And no, you don't need to copy paste, but just change some wordings. Like if it's direct, you change it to indirect, right? So that's how you're going to do it. So that's how I did it, and that's how I wrote a lot, but still I managed to get good marks. So summary is the easiest thing. And if you are someone who is having difficult time with it, I think you should practice. Within that, also work on the connecting words. Like connecting words, like in English we have because of this, so because is a connecting word, and the transitional words that we call, and in Urdu you should know that, right? So if you know that iski wajah se, try that. So if you have these transitional words remembered in your mind, summary writing can be very easy for you, and then essay writing can be very easy for you, because essay mein to you need to write by your mind, but to structurize it properly so the examiner can know, okay, ye bachcha hai, isko aata hai structure. So to structurize it, you should know some transitional words. Afterwards, there are no muhavres anymore in our paper, so you guys can have good time with that. So yeah, that was a bit about my Urdu paper and my experience. I honestly did not expect it. Like, my paper one was smooth like butter, but the paper two, I did not expect. I thought due to my paper two, I will lose a lot of marks, but it could be a case that you guys can have a good one good paper and one bad paper, and eventually get a good grade as well. So just make sure that you have one good paper at least. So yeah, that was all about my experience. If you guys, you know, got some what do you call it, like, if you guys anyways, like, somehow got a relief by learning about my experience and the mistakes that I did, and some tips and tricks that I shared with you. I know I'm not a mastermind in this, but at least I thought it will be the best to share my experience. So yeah, again, thank you so much for watching my video, and yes, bye.